Always a big fan of Major League Baseball playoffs. We'll certainly go over the game tonight between the New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. Also on the docket tonight, one of my favorite guests, my partner in crime, the big man on campus, going to join me here in just a few moments. We're going to pick out a 5-pack of NCAA action for this week and weekend. Hopefully we can pick on some early lines, give you a little bit of interest on what you can look forward to in those games, and hopefully put some more money in your pocket. And as usual, we're going to hit the NFL card. We do have a Thursday night game, very interesting one between the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll talk a little bit, and also check out some opening lines in that as well. Welcome into the show. I'll be your host tonight, Donnie Rightside. Let me bring in my guest tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, my partner in crime, Jeff Nadu. Follow him at Jeff Nadu on Twitter. Does a lot of stuff around here on the channels with the sportsbookreview.com. Welcome into the show, Jeff.
Donnie, thanks for having me tonight.
Hey, man, we're going to have a good time tonight. I mean, I know you're a big Yankees fan. Yankees get underway. Normally, we talked about on the right side of campus today, nothing to look forward to typically on a Tuesday. We have playoff baseball that can hold us over till football gets underway tomorrow with some Sunbelt action. Why don't we get right to the card tonight, Jeff, in Major League Baseball? We talked about it a little bit earlier. Now looks like we'll be able to finalize some things. Lineups have been posted out there. Not as much change, Jeff, since we spoke last around 12:30 p.m. Eastern time today. Looks like holding firm. Yankees is a strong favorite, minus 255, minus 260. Over under. Looks like a lot is coming in on the under here. As anticipated, I was leaning that direction in under 7.5. But it looks like double juice if you're looking to take that under. Hey, Jeff, in this game, I know it's a heavy Yankee line. You know, me and you, we're not big on betting, anything over 150 for the most part in Major League Baseball. This one obviously much higher. You digging run line here? What are we looking at?
Yeah, that would be the way I'm looking at it here. Run line Yankees. I mean, we know their bullpen's going to be able to come in and close things down like always, but I just don't really trust the Twins. I mean, they don't have much experience at this level as far as I think even this organization thought that they would be more or less a team that wouldn't fall much into the chance of having a shot at playoffs. But they played well. They have a good little lineup, but Miguel Sano's out. That hurts. And Irvin Santana just has not had a lot of success at Yankee Stadium. I just think the Yankees are the better overall team. I think they have the better bullpen. I think their starters clearly better. It's hard, Donnie, to get away from the Irvin Santana problems at Yankee Stadium. For me, you also look at the bullpen. I mean, it's been so dominant. Opponents hitting just 205 against the Yankees bullpen this year. And they've also dominated the Twins this year, Donnie. 14 of 19 they've beaten the Twins. I throw a lot of that out. It's playoff baseball. It's one game, do or die. I think the Yankees will do enough to get the job done here. I think it's a 4-1 type of game. I think Severino will be fantastic. They'll get a couple runs here and do the job and take care of the Twins here.
Yeah, no, taking a look, Jeff, let's look at the lineups here now that they've been released. I mean, there's a clear disparagement in talent to me overall. I think you have the better pitcher on the Yankee side. I think you have the better bullpen on the Yankee side and the better lineup. If we look at the Yankees lineup tonight, Gardner, Judge, Sanchez, Gregorius, Castro, Bird, Hicks, Ellsbury, and Frazier. You might want to bicker with Ellsbury in the lineup or maybe Greg Bird hitting 190 playing first base. But if you look over at the Twins lineup there, Jeff, Dozier, Maurer, Polanco, Rosario, Escobar, Kepler, Buxton, Castro, and Grossman. Not a murderer's row, putting up some good numbers there, but there's one big guy missing in that lineup the Twins were hoping to have back, and that was Miguel Sanu. Not going to be in the lineup tonight. That's going to be a big loss, sitting right in the middle, usually hitting in that 4 spot. What do you think about those two lineups there, Jeff? You got Greg Bird in there. Todd Frazier's going to pull up the rear with 207. Ellsbury's in the lineup, but 1 through 5, pretty damn good lineup for the Yanks.
Yeah, and 1 through 5 is good. The problem is the bottom of the lineup sucks. I mean, Todd Frazier's extremely overrated. He's got a decent glove, and Greg Bird. I mean, it's you wonder at what point. I mean, when is that going to hurt the Yankees? I don't know if it'll hurt them in a 1-game playoff, but you would have hoped to have Matt Holliday back. I mean, that's never really came to fruition. Hopefully, Jacoby Ellsbury can kind of give a little semblance at the bottom of the lineup, but I think 1 through at least 7's really good, and the no Sano stuff hurts. So yeah, they'll throw some lefties at Severino, but this is why you got someone. This is why you've leaned on Severino all year. He's been fantastic, and you are getting a hot pitcher. Irvin Santana has been very good over the last month or so, and he's been good all year. But you just can't get away from his trouble at Yankee Stadium, Donnie. Like I said, I think it's a 4-2, 4-1 type of game.
Yeah, no, I can see the same thing, 4-1, 4-2. And again, all hands are on deck from both sides here. We're not going to get the bottom of the barrel pitchers coming in unless it's 9-1 game. But even at that point, it's a one game. You're either in or you're out, depending on whether you win or lose tonight. All hands are going to be on deck. You're not looking for tomorrow. It's not about saying, hey, I don't want to burn this pitcher here. You need to get out of this game and win this game, even to get the Cleveland Indians up next. You can worry about that at a different time. So I'm going to lean towards the under 7.5 on this one as my play tonight. And again, bet online 7.5 minus 128, Greek minus 120, Bovada minus 115, Chris over 7 minus 126. So it must be some sharp action or a lot of action coming in on the under, Jeff. I'll lean on the 7.5. You're saying in this one you're going to lean run line Yankees here?
Yeah, I'm going to lean run line Yankees here. I think, again, I'm not big on laying big prices like this, but I really don't see the Yankees at home losing. I think if they're going to win, I think they'll win by 2 or more. You get a great bullpen to close it out. I think the Twins go away quietly here.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And tomorrow, again, we're going to get more Major League Baseball. We'll be able to go over it there. We'll probably touch on it at 12:30 p.m. on the round table. Me and the big man will be participating in that. Host Drew Martin and also Bobano Ian will be on that show, Ian Cameron, and we'll be able to talk some NHL tomorrow, Jeff. But that's for another day, another dollar. Why don't we get into some NCAA football here, Jeff? We got a nice 5-pack here up on deck that we can take a look at, some early line openers. And I know we talked about the first one, Jeff, 305, 306, Louisville, NC State. Off the air, we talked together. That line, bumped up to 4. I thought it was too much. 4s are no longer across the board. Minus 3.5 seems to be prevailing here. If you take out Bovada's 4.5, that little outlying line. But I seem to think, to me, looking at this game without capping it much, probably won't be on this football game. But I would lean towards the home team, NC State here. I think getting points, good situation. I know the public's going to see Lamar Jackson at quarterback. They've had a good season so far, only losing to Clemson. But I think NC State's a little bit of a sneaky play here as a dog at home.
Yeah, I think this game is like carbon copy Washington State, Oregon. I mean, for the most part. I mean, you have a team pretty up and coming. I know they beat Florida State, but I don't think that was as surprising as people might have anticipated it would be. Louisville coming in here, kind of that team everybody knows about, and they're facing an upstart team here. And this is a similar line, similar situation. The concern you have for Louisville is, what else do you have other than Lamar Jackson? You're putting a ton on his back. Now, again, he's been able to normally get the job done. I think they have a less than stellar defense. I think NC State's going to be able to move the football at a high level in this game. Ryan Finley has been really great this year. He only has one. I don't think you know what? I don't think he's turned the ball over at all, come to think of it. They have some weapons. Jalen Samuels, pretty good run game as well. And the big thing for them is I think they're going to do a nice job here against Lamar Jackson. They have a good front seven. You want to make Lamar Jackson kind of, stay try to keep him in the pocket and give him some really heavy pressure. That's always the goal. I think they can do that. They have one of the better defensive lines in the country with Bradley Chubb and others. I just think this is a game that I think we're buying in a little too much to Louisville. At the end of the day, they've not really played anyone. And the team they did play, they got absolutely run out of the building. And I'm not really quite sure how you can go laying points with against a tough NC State squad that's really shown that they're a team to be reckoned with this year in the ACC. I got to be honest, Donnie, I think they're a team that can really maybe make some noise here towards the end of the season. I think they start getting another win this week against a high-level opponent at home.
Yeah, a little sleepy season start there. Obviously taking a loss opening day to South Carolina, who now lost their best player. So a little bit under the radar, I agree. But I just thought it was interesting when it opened up. Pinnacle had 2.5. Chris opened up at 1. I thought that was more in line with what it was. And then all of a sudden it ballooned up to 4. I just thought it was too much, a little bit of a buyback. It'll be interesting to see where that line settles. But I'd be hard-pressed to see that line, Jeff, settle at 4.5. But you're more likely to see, to me, a 3 than a 4.5. As a favorite by Louisville. But we'll see what happens coming down the stretch. 361, 362, a game I'm really interested in. Going to be doing a lot of homework on this one, Jeff. Tulsa and Tulane, 80% of the early tickets coming in on Tulsa here. Line opened up at 3.5 in the favor of Tulane. Chris opened it up at 3. Now sitting at Chris -4, -4.5, depending on where you're shopping. Early indicators from me, Jeff. I think Tulsa, obviously being a softer defense, if you will, Navy pounded them. We all thought Navy opened up last week, what, Jeff? 3.5, ended up closing 7.5, covered that number. Tulane's that same type of ball club. Now Tulane's going to be at home. I think they're just going to run them to death in this game. I haven't checked out too much to see how Tulsa's actually going to hold up in here, but my early indication, Jeff, I'm trying to build a case to take the Tulane Green Wave here.
Yeah, the problem for me here in this game is Tulane ready to lay numbers against a good offense? And I'm not sure. I mean, are they good in an underdog role? Yeah. I mean, did they take Navy to the cleaners? Yeah. Did they almost win on the road? Yeah, but they didn't. They had to have a nice win against Army off of that nice performance against Navy and Oklahoma. But overall, they're off a bye here. This is a game that I think really can define their season. If they could find a way to win this game, now bowl games maybe a little bit more likely here. They did a nice job by beating Army to kind of put them in the forefront here. They're at home, off a bye against a team who has a lot of trouble stopping the run. We've seen that last week against Navy. They just couldn't get the job done getting big stops. You're not going to see a lot of throwing in this football game. Two of these teams both love to run the football. I think for me, Tulane's got the edge just because I think their defense is a lot better than Tulsa's. They can make the occasional throw, but you're going to see a lot of ground and pound. And I think you're going to see Tulane get a little revenge here. They've had a lot of trouble with Tulsa over the years, but this is the best Tulane team we've seen in years. Willie Fritz is on the up and up there, and I think this game goes a long way in deciding if they make a bowl game. Off a bye here, I would lean with Tulane. The trouble is, I'm not sure if I want to lay points. This number's gotten a little bit away from us. At 2.5, maybe. At 4.5, 5, not necessarily interested. For me, it's probably going to be an avoiding game, but I think Tulane can get the job done and win. Will they cover? I'm not ready to really think they can. Laying 4.5 with Tulane's not a thing I want to do regularly.
Yeah, you know what I want to see? I want to see where these tickets end up lining up because the early ones, I mean, obviously everybody's overwhelmingly on Tulsa, and we'll see. And you're right about that, Tulane being in that spot where now you're not, just saying, hey, you know what, hang around 7.5, hang around 4.5. You don't have to win the game, but it'll be close. Now you're asking them to win the football game. They are at home. I think they can, but I do want to do some homework to see if I can build a case for Tulane to win that football game as a favorite. So I want to see where that
Hey,
line
Donnie?
actually ends up. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and also I want to point out, I mean, Tulsa is horrible defensively. I mean, they're one of the worst in the country. They had the fact that you go into this game thinking that they're going to stop Tulane is hard to believe. I mean, they really struggled against Navy last week getting stops. The fact that they've seen the option doesn't mean anything to me. You could see the option 5 times in a row. Going out on the field and stopping it and making it happen is a different story. It doesn't matter that they see the option a lot in this conference, and they never seem to be able to stop it. So I think we need to stop making excuses. Tulsa's a bad defensive team. They're not going to get any better here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I like take a look at the over under because I like that angle. Tulsa, as we know, Jeff, high up tempo offense, they can score some points. Tulane, that nice ground and pound. But again, when you're running the triple option in college, it's not designed for you to win the game 14-7 like it's a high school football game. Like they're going to put up some points, and Tulsa doesn't stop the run all that well. But 59 might seem like a little bit high because just looking at Tulane's overall aspect, they want to beat you, Jeff, like 24-21, 28-27, somewhere in that range. 28-24. I can see that game ending up. I want to see how we can build a case maybe for the total just to see because it opened up at 61.5 at Chris, now down to 59 even. A lot of times when you see a 59 with Tulsa, you want to think automatically that's an over game just because they like to try to be a high-scoring offense, and they don't play much defense. I'm going to see what that total is going to look like there. If you're asking me right now at 59, I probably would lean towards the under, just the way Tulsa wants to be physical, keep the ball on the ground. We'll see what happens, but that's going to be an interesting one. Any thoughts on maybe the tempo of this football game, Jeff?
Yeah, I think you're dead right. I think for when you have Tulsa playing, it's people are quick to lean over. Last week was a prime
Mhm.
example. That was one of my losers last week. I was on the over and really just slow play initially hurt this team. But Tulsa can move the ball. I mean, President's a good quarterback as far as running the football. They'll be able to move the ball. 61, it seems a little low, but I think Tulane's one of the better defenses in the AAC. So for me, I could definitely see them. I think this game, honestly, Donnie, is a lot like last week, like 31-21, 31-24, 34-24, something like that. I think Tulane is underrated. I don't think people get that they're a very good, well, not a very good football team, but they're getting a lot better. So for me, I would lean under, but this is a tough game. It really is. Numbers are good here for the most part.
No, you know what's going to also be nice about that, Jeff, in a couple years? Like we talk about program builders quite a bit on there. Willie Fritz, once he gets his guys in there, which again, only year two, I believe, of his regime there. Wait till years 4, 5, and 6 if he stays there
Yeah.
long term. They're going to be a really good football team. And you forget where they're at in that part of the country, down in New Orleans. They're going to be able to get the recruits. They're going to be able to get good running backs. I'm going to guarantee right now, Jeff, you're going to see some Matt Breida clones coming there to run that offense. It's going to be a lot of
I
fun to watch. So I do root for Willie Fritz there.
I agree with you a lot. I mean, Mike Dunleavy came out of retirement to coach the basketball team. He saw something there with the level of recruiting around there, and I
Mhm.
agree with you. I think Willie Fritz did a great job at Georgia Southern. He's going to do a good job at Tulane as well.
Yeah, I believe so. Next up here, Jeff, 365, excuse me, 365, 366, San Diego State, UNLV. San Diego State with a nice, hard-fought victory against a very game Northern Iowa squad in that game. Most people probably, if they did watch it, saw the poke in the eye by NIU to Rashard Penny to try to, I guess that's the only way you slow the kid down is try to get him out of the game completely. This game lines up, Jeff, on the road here, opened up at 9 at Pinnacle, 10 at Chris, currently sitting mostly across the board at 10.5. I won a bet with UNLV last week against a really lowly San Jose State team. So I don't know how much you can take out of it. One thing when you watch UNLV, very good wideout with Boyd, an athletic quarterback with a very good arm for UNLV, and they have a couple running backs that can run. However, when you're going up against Jeff San Diego State, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. They can't get pressure on you. Have one. Frank Gind is the only player on that defense. He can't be everywhere every time. They shredded that San Diego State. This is a completely different ball club coming to town versus UNLV. But then again, Jeff, they're getting 10 points there at home, and they're not a bad football team, UNLV.
Yeah, by the way, Antonio Jones Davis, the guy that poked that Rashad Penny, actually got suspended a game for that.
Yeah,
Nice to see
and
Northern Illinois
NIU actually
making
suspended him. Didn't even wait, which was good.
yeah, it was nice to see. That's what to me. That's what a coach does. Nice job by Rod Carey to really, you got to teach these kids some things, and he did a good job of doing that. But you know what, Donnie, this is an interesting capping scenario because obviously things that went on in Las Vegas this week.
Mhm.
I think UNLV is a good play in this football game. I think this is just a little too many points. As many know, I love San Diego State. Very into this team. I think they're the best group of 5 team in the country. I'm not saying they're going to lose this game, but you got to go on the road and face a team that I think has a lot of chip on their shoulder to kind of put out there. We have to get away from the fact of them losing to Howard. That happens. Washington State lost to Portland State last year and had a great run to the in the Pac-12. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. I think you're totally right. I think UNLV is a pretty good football team, and they've really improved under Tony Sanchez out there in the desert. I like Armani Rogers. You mentioned Devontae Boyd. He's a big play receiver.
Mhm.
If you can believe it, UNLV is actually a better rushing team than San Diego State. Both teams are going to want to
Yes.
hold on to the ball, long
Mhm.
drives, get that. They're like New Mexico. They get that occasional big run. That's what these teams do. Quarterback play is average. Christian Chapman doesn't make mistakes, so they love him at SDSU. But I think Armani Rogers can make some plays in this game. And I just think with the situation in the town this week and, you know, them just kind of having a chip on their shoulder all year, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. If you've noticed, San Diego State has definitely left teams in games. Air Force, even last week against Northern Illinois, that wasn't a blowout or anything either. Um, I think this is like a 34 27 type of game, something like that. I think it's decided within double digits. I think UNLV can hang here. This is a big game for them against a really good opponent. You're always going to get the best game from teams like this at home in this spot. I think this is a huge game for UNLV. I think they hang around in this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting game if you want to play that side angle, like what you're going to anticipate UNLV going to be coming out. Is it a galvanizing type situation, or is it shock and awe from early in the week? Maybe some of their friends, got caught up, got shot or heaven forbid killed at that event. It's going to be weird, because there's two things that can happen in this one. I don't want to say apathy, where like, oh man, we got to play a football game, like we can't even get our minds right, or is it, hey, show up to the UNLV game on Saturday night. Big game in town. Let's support the boys. Let's rally for, the city of Las Vegas. You can see that aspect. If we get back to a football perspective here, the one thing I like about UNLV, Jeff, is they actually have a decent front four that can stop the run. The problem is they have no pass rush whatsoever to get after the quarterback. Now, when you say, well, San Diego State's more run built, that's all fine and good, but play action is going to leave a lot to be desired here. Last week, that game, when you watched it from a viewing perspective, I loved it because UNLV won, they covered, but the game was a little bit closer than what the actual score was. UNLV jumped out to a lead, but they couldn't get off the field for the most part on defense. And the one thing we know, Jeff, San Diego State's not going to make mistakes. They're going to move the football, move the chains. I want to see how anxious UNLV gets on offense. I want to see where this line ends up, because if it ends up somewhere, Jeff, 10, maybe 9.5, I would lean on taking San Diego State. I think they're clearly the better football team, but also you're playing that emotional angle, and it's hard to get a grip to see how UNLV is either going to be galvanized or shell-shocked in this football game from what happened.
I think after kind of the season they started with, I don't know that they can go into any games with that mindset. Again, you're right though that you got to put the personal side into it as well. Luckily for their sake and this team, it's about a week. It'll be about a week since then. So this is where coaching comes in, and I think Tony Sanchez is a good football coach. Oh, I think he'll have his team prepared. One other thing about San Diego State. They're a good defense. They're not a great defense. They have a little bit of question marks in the secondary. They lost a lot last year. Casey, Calvin Munson as a linebacker. I don't love them defensively. They're good. They're not great. I just think this is too many points. You give me 6.5, okay, but at 10.5, who knows where this game will go? I'd be looking towards the underdog here.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see where you can build a case for the underdog, because UNLV, again, you want to take, you're right, you want to take out the first game where they lost. If you see the other games, of course they got pounded at Ohio State. When they get back to the so-called talent level there, again, we're not asking for UNLV, Jeff, to win the football game. We're just asking you to hang in there late. And as we all know, San Diego State's not a run-it-up type team. And also, Jeff, let's take the human element into this as well. San Diego State goes in there and rolls them up. They're up, late. 17 points or whatever it would be, or let's just say they're up, Jeff, 7 points. They're inside the 10-yard line with 2 minutes to go. There's no timeouts. Does Rocky Long ram that ball into the end zone, or is he taking a knee and wants to shake the hand of Tony Sanchez saying, hey, man, I wish you guys luck. It's been a tough one this week.
That's exactly what he's going to do. Rocky Long would do that in any circumstance. He's a quality, classy guy. I think this game's close. It just has the look to that to me.
No, I would agree. We'll see where it ends up as it goes this week. 377, 378. Jeff, your boys are back in action here after a big upset winner. We'll see if there's a carryover effect. That's Washington State and Oregon. About 2,000 tickets have been tracked. The majority of those tickets, Jeff, spread-wise, coming in on the Washington State Cougars. Line opened up at -2 and roughly a pick-em, depending on where you're shopping at. Some even opened up Washington State a little bit of a favorite, -1. It looks like it's 2.5 across the board in the favor of Oregon, a banged-up Oregon squad. You have two things here, Jeff. It's always tough to go up to Alton and play football. I love the program. I love the coaching staff at Oregon right now. Washington State sort of is getting that pedigree here. But how much do you take, Jeff, after we rushed the field because we beat USC? It was a great win. Now we got to go play another quality football team, maybe a little bit wounded there, starting quarterbacks out for the game. What do you take into this game psychologically if you're Washington State here?
Nothing. It's another game. It was an extra day as well. It was Friday night, not Saturday night. By the days it's Monday, and you got to look ahead to another game. This is another scenario where coaching is important. Mike Leach is why I like Mike Leach so much, Donnie. He reminds me of the way I look at things. He's obsessed with his craft. He's obsessed with everything I do revolves this for the most part. And Mike Leach is the same way. Mike Leach doesn't take days off. Mike Leach uses his days off as ways to look at film or this or that. And I look at this and I say to myself, they are in a position now to do big things. If they run the table, they will be in the talk to go to the college football playoff. You can think what you want, they will. And they have a bigger. It's all about the bigger picture, Donnie. It's nice to graduate high school, but now you got to go to college. You're gonna make something of your own. You got a bigger things to do, bigger fish to fry, as they say, Donnie. You got to go out and get that big catch. And I think they're gonna go on the road here to Autzen, and you're facing an Oregon team right now that is bruised and battered, Donnie. There are a lot of injuries for this team. They're looking at a third string true freshman quarterback here to play in this one. Braxton Burmeister, which that's bad news if you're Oregon. Charles Nelson's out. Darren Carrington's long gone, and Royce Freeman's hobbled as well. This is a tough spot facing this kind of caliber of opponent. Washington State is much improved on the defensive end. They're downright stingy right now against opponents, and they're such a good team as an underdog, Donnie. They're not laying points here; they're getting points in this spot. I don't look at much of a carryover effect here. I look at this as business as usual for Washington State. They go on the road here and beat a team in Oregon right now who A is very hobbled on the offensive side, and B isn't good to begin with defensively.
No, I mean, I can see your point of views completely on there. Tough home game, or excuse me, tough place to go on the road if you are Washington State. But hey, rolling after a big win, got to get refocused, eyes on the prize on this one. I get it. You're getting obviously an advantage with starting quarterback being out. And Washington State, this isn't, 5 years ago, Washington State, where they were a sieve on defense, giving up 45 to 50 every game. They have improved that. They've improved the running game. We've talked about that time and time again. Take a look at the over, Jeff. Opened up at Pinnacle, 66. Opened up at Chris, 67. Now down to 63 across the board. I think you're getting that buyback here because you technically don't know what you're going to get out of the Oregon offense. And we've seen Washington State, Jeff, be able to hold the ball, play ground control, run the football, run the clock, and play some decent defense to hold a team off late. Do you have any thoughts on that early total here?
Yeah, I think with the question marks at quarterback, with the injuries on offense, I don't think Oregon will be as potent as usual. But I don't see any reason Washington State doesn't put up plenty of points against this defense. I mean, this defense if they gotten a little better, yeah, but overall, I don't trust them to get stops. They had a lot of trouble against Tanner Lee, for God's sakes, of Nebraska. So, Luke Falk, with all the weapons they have, look for Mike Leach to again set a precedent here. I think they score into the 30s. I'm just not sure that Oregon can do anything crazy. I think this is like a 30-24 type of game. It'll be pretty close, but Washington State will prevail and get the outright win here. As far as the total, with Oregon's question marks on offense right now with the quarterback, I can't be confident that they're going to do a ton.
Hey, also in the Pacific Northwest, sometimes you got to watch out some crazy weather patterns, conditions, rainy a lot up there. Looks like it's going to be clear and cool, Jeff. 60 degrees at kickoff with no precipitation. So maybe some points are in effect there. We know both of these teams can run some up-tempo at times. And in the college landscape, Jeff, 63 is not a ton of points when you look at both of these ball clubs. But I think there's just a little bit too much of unknown factors there of how much that playbook is going to be available to the young quarterback. So we'll see where that line ends up right now, as we said, sitting at 2.5 and 63. Next game up, Jeff, close to my heart here, 417, 418, Miami of Florida versus Florida State in this one. Been since 2009 since the Hurricanes have taken down the Florida State Seminoles. They've been close for the past couple years. Should have won last year. We're up 10-0. Brad Kaya throws a dumb interception, sends the game on its head. Miami ties it up late, gets an extra point blocked, and down they go for the count once again. Dalvin Cook is the hero, as he played many a times with Florida State, but no longer Dalvin Cook there, no longer Jameis Winston, no longer DeAndre Francois. Very pedestrian-looking offensive play, a very game Miami defense here, Jeff. Opening line in this one, 3.5, which was kind of surprising to me. Chris opened up at 0, but I'm guessing that was an early soft line. Line sits anywhere between 3 to 3.5, depending where you shop. I think that line's about right. It was actually a little bit shocking that it gets up there because, again, Jeff, still a very talented Florida State football team on defense. You saw Miami play last week against Duke. If they go up against a formidable defense, Miami, their offense is very good, but they're going to play close to the vest in this one, I believe. It's going to come down. I think Miami overall, Jeff, offensively is a more talented football team than Florida State is, but it all is detailed and all comes down to, is Mark Walton's ankle healthy? If that kid comes into the game 100%, Miami wins this football game. If he comes in banged up, that's going to open the door. Rozier is going to have to make some football plays as that game goes along. If you saw it, Jeff, like we all did first half when Miami played Duke, opened it up a little bit, got underway. Once Duke was able to get a game plan together on defense, they pretty much shut down Miami's offense until late in the football game. I do see a defensive struggle. Over-under in this one, Jeff, opened up at 50, now sitting at around 48, 47.5. So it's coming down here. I do lean towards the under because I think both of these teams are going to play it a little bit closer to the vest here.
I love Miami in this game. I'm all over.
Yeah, there we go, here. Big man. Good for you.
One of my favorite plays of the week, and I think if you like it, you want to bet it now. I bet it earlier today at 3 at 105.
Yeah,
I don't need to sway. I think you know that they're the right play here. By the way, Mark Walton will play Practiced fully, looks good to go, says Rick. So I think he'll be a big factor in this game. He's a really good running back, really good running back. And I think you're right. Even without him, though, I still think they're a very good football team. I think what they did last week was really impressive. On the road, they absolutely shut down Duke, shut them down. They couldn't do anything with the football. That the up tempo offense didn't bother them. Nothing hurt them. And I'm going to tell you right now, Florida State is not a bad offensive team. They're a terrible offensive team right now. 115th in the country offensively. I don't like them at all. I think they're just young everywhere. And that was probably the biggest problem coming into the season. I love Francois, but he can make a decent player look better. With the quarterback you have now, he can't do that. Now you're seeing that this team just isn't very good. They're young. All their position players are young. They don't have a Dalvin Cook to lean on anymore. And I look at Miami, and they've covered 14 of 19 as a favorite. They've been a pretty good ATS team over the years. They have some revenge here. You've mentioned their inability, Miami, to beat Florida State. I think defensively they're absolutely fantastic. I think they shut down a pedestrian Florida State offense here. I don't know that I understand this number. I really don't. I don't know why this number is only 3. I think Florida State is a 4 or 5 point favorite, not 3. Florida State has shown me absolutely nothing. Do they have a good defense? Sure, but so does Miami. Miami gets some revenge here. I like them 27-14. I think it's a lower scoring game. 27-14. I'll go Miami here.
I like it, man. Maybe sometimes, Jeff, I like to say that I'm too close to the fire at this point where I've seen, Miami over the years. They just can't get over that hump. You're also playing at Florida State, rivalry game. Take the records out of it. It's going to be a close one. I would have felt more comfortable if that line was, below 3 or maybe a 1 like it opened up at. But 3.5 sort of gives me a little bit of pause. But I'm going to reevaluate as the week goes on. I want to hear, the
Donnie,
Mark Richt press conference that Walton's 100% ready to go and see what happens.
You could take this to the bank right now.
Ooh.
Okay.
The closing line bank. Yeah.
Most of my predictions on this show usually come true. They're usually pretty good. I mean, I said the Diamondbacks. I mean, we don't have to count them. The Miami Hurricanes are going to win the ACC. Mark my words.
Yes.
You heard it here
first.
first.
Coastal.
They are going to beat
the Coastal, or are you going to say they're going to beat Clemson too?
No, they are going to beat Clemson. Watch.
Ooh. Save this tape. I'm going to play this tape every night before I go to bed. I'm going to love it. Fantastic.
That's fine. I really like this football.
I like it. Hey, man, that's my squad.
Last week was impressive. It was really impressive. And I think Rozier is better than I thought he'd be. A lot better. They have some receivers that can make plays. Walton is a player that is only going to get better as the season goes on. And defensively, they are really, really good. And you look at the energy from this team right now, it's really positive. This is, to me, one of the better Miami teams overall that we've seen in a while. Just the way they play, just the way they are. I think they're just a little bit more positive, and that goes back to Mark Richt. I don't love Mark Richt in big games, especially Georgia. He was just an average guy, but I really like what I've seen so far with him at Miami. This team they just seem a lot more cohesive. I like Miami a lot going forward.
No, I like it, man. Good, man. I want you to sway me over that because I'm going to take a look at some statistics as the week goes on. Haven't really fully vetted that game just yet, as I like to do on these like Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to have a lot of fun looking at that. But that definitely piques my interest, getting some outside information like that where somebody's a little bit more excited than I am for the Miami Hurricanes. So we'll see how that goes. That'll wrap up the 5-pack here for NCAA football. Jeff, what do you say we talk a little bit of NFL action here, buddy?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not just going to pick every favorite every week. Clemson's good. Play a good football team and then come talk to me. Virginia Tech sucks defensively. They're good. Let's not put them in the same league as Alabama. I got to stop hearing that too. Let's let the games speak for themselves. We'll see what happens. I'm putting it out there. I don't just pick favorites every week. I'm going to go with a couple dogs. I like what I've seen from Miami. We'll see how it goes. Maybe you guys can all laugh at me at the end of the season, but I'm going to stick with it.
Jeff, as long as you have Braxton Berrios on your side, you're going to be good to go throughout the season. So we'll lean on him. We'll lean on my man Braxton for this weekend versus Florida State. Little NFL action, Jeff, to start up here. Let's go Thursday Night Football, 303-304. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston. 56 is the number. And that tells you everything you need to know with both of these defenses where they stand right now. You can pass on both of them. When you can pass in the National Football League on another team at will, you're going to be able to put up some points. The only question I have here, Jeff, is we've talked about Tampa Bay. Perfect storm last week. I had the New York Giants. Tampa Bay still beat them. You could say Tampa Bay could have blown the doors off them right away, but got a little bit lax in that football game, missed some field goals, a little bit sloppy conditions, let the New York Giants back into the football game. That's neither here nor there for a Thursday night game. Short rest, New England's coming on the road, not much time to prepare. We all know Tom Brady's going to be in town. That's all fine and good. I want to see how these two teams go toe-to-toe. The one thing I like about this football game, Jeff, is Jameis Winston going up against a team that's not very good on paper on defense, but can't get after him on a pass rush. The Giants have a very good pass rush, and he was able to step up in the pocket and make plays. I'm interested to see how much time he gets there, how creative Dirk Cutter's going to be with Tampa Bay. And look, Jeff, they're getting 5.5 points at home on a Thursday night. You know I love Thursday night home teams, and now a Thursday night dog in this situation. I think Tampa Bay is live in this football game, Jeff, and I mean live.
Yeah, I haven't been in love with an NFL game this year. I've liked a lot of them. I thought Bengals were great playing Sunday. I'm all over Tampa Bay in this game, all over them. I think this is a outright winner.
Yes.
I'm going to come out and say it. I think they beat New England and put New England in a poor spot. This is a big game for Tampa Bay. How many years have they kind of been in? Well, they're getting better. They're getting there. I'm not using the one game thing. I was high on them all year coming into the season. Winston off a huge game. You get to face a defense here that is lost without a paddle, and they're not going to get better in 1 week. This is a huge game for this team, for this town. If you like the Buccaneers, this is a huge football game. This is a good way to test what you are. And do I think their defense is great? No, I don't. But from my sources, Donnie, Quan Alexander is going to play on Thursday night. That's what I've heard through the grapevine down in Tampa Bay. And again, my injury stuff has been absolutely perfect this year. So again, take that for what it's worth. But getting 5 points here, to me, that shows me that they don't really know what the line should be in this game. You just throw 5 out there. I think you're going to see the ability this year to make some money betting against New England. I think for the first time, you're starting to see they've always had a decent defense. They have a really bad defense this year, really bad. I think Jameis Winston puts out one of those MVP type performances. They get Doug Martin back to add to the run game. They include Deshaun Jackson a little bit. I'll be interested to see what his thinking pattern is. From what I understand, he's made a little bit of a wave down there. He's not happy with him not getting the football. New England has no business against this team. I can't. I think it's crazy that I'm saying I can't lay 5 points at New England, but on the road with that defense, I don't know that I can do that. I like Tampa Bay in the spot.
Jeff, it's beautiful too because you have a lot of tickets already tracked. This is, we're a Tuesday night to Thursday night game. Whenever New England's going to take the stage on a Thursday night, you're going to get a lot of action. Almost 8,000 tickets have been tracked, Jeff, and I love it. 83%, Jeff, of those tickets are lining up for the New England Patriots. It sets up everything I like about the NFL. Exactly. Keep it coming in. Let's see some reports that come out. You tell me right now, they can't stop Funchess, Jeff, from the Panthers. So you're going to tell me Mike Evans is going to be out there, starving to death on an island where he's going to get shut down by Gilmore? Come on, man.
They're vulnerable defensively right now. And against this football team on the road in Tampa, this is a season-defining game for Tampa Bay. Mark my words. I think they're going to win, but I'll take the 5 points.
No, I'm agreeing with you there, Jeff. And I like Thursday night home teams. I think it's a good spot. I wouldn't even have been shocked if this game was at New England -3 or -2.5. I think it's more in line with the number. I think it's inflated at 5.5, and we'll see where it ends up. But all that public support. Wait, New England? They're going to get it right. New England hasn't gotten it right yet. New England should be 1-3 right now. Honest to God, a 1-3 football team right now.
Yeah, this defense is dreadful. Dreadful. They've given up 300 passing yards in every game this year. Over 300 in every game. It's time to make some changes. Belichick can't be happy here.
No, it should be a fun one. I'm glad that's a Thursday night game that I'm really interested in.
It's going
And,
to be a great
as
game.
opposed to a Green Bay Chicago game where you're saying, like, oh my God, it's over in the first 5 minutes. Going to be a fun game to watch because regardless if one of these teams gets down, Jeff, I don't think the other defensive secondary is going to be able to keep the other team down for too long. You could see if Tampa Bay gets an early lead, Jeff, 13-3 on New England. You're not going to shut the door on New England the same way with Tampa Bay. New England's defense isn't good enough to shut it down. Jeff, Dougie Martin is going to be back in this football game and starting at running back. Complete offense. Running back, quarterback, 2 wideouts, fast tight end. Let's see what happens here. I'm excited for that game. Let's move on, Jeff. A couple of these games popping up. Yeah, go ahead, man.
One other point. That's a good point by one of the chatters, Neil Frank. They can't lose back-to-back, is what everyone will say. They're going to go on the road. For the first time this year, Donnie, I might bring out 2 TVs for this one. Louisville, NC State, Patriots, Bucks. I don't do that ever, but I might do that this week.
No, certainly. Hey, man, that's a good one. I'm looking forward to Thursday Night Football. We'll also have, Jeff, playoff baseball as well on Thursday. So, I mean, you're going to have a complete package. And those hockey puck heads out there, Jeff, there will be hockey Cup as well. Which I know you might have to, Jeff, you might have to have 3 TVs, the third one being hockey over there.
I could care less about hockey.
Let's keep it going here, Jeff. Down the list, take a look at some of these interesting matchups here. Too easy to go over Arizona, Philadelphia. Let's pick another one. An interesting game on the card, Jeff. I mean, I'm zeroed in on this one, already hammering out which way I want to go. 467, 468. The Seattle Seahawks traveling down to Southern California to play the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, Wilson and Goff lining up. Line opened up at -2 at Pinnacle, Jeff. We're seeing 1.5 across the board here. Most public bettors look at that and say, again, oh my God, Seattle's getting points. Why don't we take Seattle? Well, when Seattle goes on the road, they tend to not play very well, especially earlier in the year. It's going to be on grass. We know they like to play on turf, completely outside. And the one thing that sticks out in this game like a sore thumb, we all know Seattle's a good defense. Tennessee tore them apart. Don't even look at that football game. This game is going to be played and decided, Jeff, through one player in this football game. Jeff, can you name the one player that's going to have an impact more than anybody else in this football game?
Gurley.
No. Come on, man. Use your head on this one.
Goff.
No. Come on. There is one player that can wreck your entire football team. There's one player in this game that's mismatch is so severe that he might wreck the entire game plan. Aaron Donald, come on. One of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Aaron Donald is going to wreck Seattle. Aaron Donald is going to wreck Seattle's game plan all by himself this weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm all over this one. I'm on the Rams myself. There's been no bigger proponent of the Rams than myself. I think they have a downright good offense, to be honest with you. Defensively, I think you're totally right. But here's the catalyst to that, and we're seeing some people say it. Well, they have Russell Wilson, and he can move around. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle. It'll be interesting to see Donald against that offensive line. He'll get to the quarterback. It's can he finish, and can he shut down Russell Wilson? But, yeah, on the road against a team that they've had trouble with, the Seahawks, I agree with you. You look at the Rams, covered 3 of 4 against Seattle. They've had their number. They're playing well. They're at home here. I agree with you. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the game as a whole, I mean, you looked at the Rams going on the road. That's a nice win to beat Dallas in Dallas. They got torched early, got the defense turned around. Wade Phillips, second half, somehow had Dallas's number. It was a fun one to watch. They pulled out that victory there. Yeah, they've gotten beaten, but you have to look at what one team does really well and what one team is horrific at. Those are the mismatches that you want to square up. If you look at this game, Aaron Donald dominated a Dallas offensive line, arguably the best in the NFL. He's going against arguably the worst in the NFL. He is going to eat. I mean, I'm telling you, he's going to set up a 3-course meal in that backfield for Russell Wilson, pushing that pocket every way. And let's forget, best running back for Seattle, Jeff, will not be playing. Broke his ankle this weekend. Also, you want to look at a pass rusher? Not much better than Cliff Averill, Jeff. He's not going to play in this football game. So you're coming up with a dinged-up team. They're not going to be able to run the football. So you're going to tell me Russell Wilson's going to drop back 35 times with a line that can't block. Aaron Donald's going to put him in the 16th row of the LA Coliseum. I'm looking forward to this game. Haven't bet it yet, but that's where I'm leaning.
They got the new greatest player in the NFL, Shaquille McKissick, Donnie, out of Arkansas State.
J.D. McKissick, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
JD. Right. Good. I'm thinking of someone else. But yeah, it'll be interesting, Donnie, for sure. Um, I yeah. As far as do I wish I had Goff over Wentz? No, no, no. Wentz is still the king, cuz.
No,
uh,
Wentz is a baller, man. Wentz is a straight up
yeah,
baller, man.
yeah. Wentz is my man. I don't. I'm not taking no one over him. I'll take him over everybody. But yeah, I
Tom
agree
Marino
with you,
says
man.
that Donnie, the Rams can't stop anybody's running game. I don't think they've faced an offensive line or a running game this bad yet. So we'll know this week.
Another
Put
big.
it down. If Seattle runs for 170 this week, then yeah, I mean, just shut it down, Rams. But I don't see it happening. I mean, it's one thing when Dallas can run the football on you. I can hear that. Or, the Washington Redskins can run the football. But when you have a bad offensive line, like if the Giants come to town and torch you on the ground, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. But I just like the way, again, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm building that case for the Rams. And you know me, Jeff. I'm a Rams hater coming into the season, but week-to-week matchups make sense. And Aaron Donald versus that offensive line is going to be a lot of fun to watch for me.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. You know, what's great for a bad run defense? Team that can't run the ball. So,
There you go.
we'll see. It'll be a fun one.
No, we'll definitely have fun. Let's pick one more out, Jeff. Why don't we go to the nightcap? Sunday Night Football. I know you and Gabe been bitching about the last couple of weeks of these matchups. This one looks like it's going to be a pretty good one. 473,
Last one was pretty
474,
good.
Kansas City and Houston. No, I mean on the
Yeah.
outset, like looking at the game
Oh
coming in.
no,
Like it did turn out to be a good one. You're right.
they've been terrible for the most part. You're right.
This looks like a good one. I'm going to really dig into these numbers. And again, when you look at Kansas City, Jeff, looks like they're opening up maybe a -1, -1.5, depending where you're at, over under a 47. Right now, you'd be hard pressed to say, Kansas City just to win I know it's on the road, but Kansas City just to win a football game right now is a pretty good proposition for the most part, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm not really sure about this. Again, we talk about week by week, and guys, I do agree. It's gotten really dark in here. It's gotten really dark outside quickly. I keep forgetting about.
Yes.
I keep
I
forgetting
didn't look
about
at it
daylight
until you just
savings.
said that.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about like it gets darker early, and I can't get the light right now. But yeah, overall, I think at this proposition, until the Chiefs can't play well, or they lose, I'm gonna ride with them. I think Houston. We saw last week. We have to remember it's a week to week league. Okay, people remember what happened last week, and that was a big time win against a terrible defense in Tennessee. Do they have a quarterback? Yeah, they do. I think Deshaun Watson's a good football player, but um, in this one, until the Chiefs slip up, I'm not betting against them. It'll be a fun one though. The stadium will be popping down there. It'd be a great game to be at. I just don't think this is the spot they lose. Until they show me anything different, I got to go with the Chiefs here. I do kind of like the over as well, but Chiefs are the better play here, I think.
Yeah, it should be. It's a fun week. I like a lot of these games, and some of these teams are on bye week, so a limited card, if you will. But I think there's a lot of decent shots, and I'll try to build up as it goes on the week. That's about all the time we have tonight on the closing line for October the 3rd. Catch me and the big man tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, not for the right side of campus, but for the roundtable with Ian Cameron and host Drew Martin. We'll have a lot of fun on that one, going over some college football, NFL, hockey starting. So a lot to go over. Very popular show here on the channel. I do want to thank Jeff for joining me tonight. Follow him once again at Jeff Nadu on Twitter, one of the best minds in the business, especially at sportsbookreview.com. Always knowledgeable when he comes on the show, bringing the heat in NCAA football for us there. Check out everything at SBR Odds, folks, SBRodds.com, and also follow us on Twitter at SBR Sports Picks. Follow us, give us a like, subscribe to us, please, on YouTube. This is what we do. It's what we like to do. Also, tomorrow on the closing line, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Ian Cameron's going to be with us to talk NHL hockey. We'll have a good time with that. Also, some other options as we move along during the week. Hopefully, we helped you out tonight, maybe pointed you in the right direction. Major League Baseball's on the docket tonight. Yankees and Minnesota. Enjoy that game. Good luck on your wagers. From everybody here at sportsbookreview.com, good luck on your wagers, and we hope we helped you beat the closing line. Take care, fellas.